Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Devil Experience. Manchester United 0, Tottenham Hotspur 3. In what is absolutely one of the most disgraceful performances I've ever seen from a Manchester United team. I am hugely upset, hugely disappointed, and it looks all but over for Erik Ten Hag. We're going to get into the match. We're going to get into what happened. But the worst possible performance, the worst possible result that we could have gotten, and Erik Ten Hag himself could have gotten. And in my opinion, I've been backing this manager. I wanted him to stay, but after what I've seen today, it looks all but over for me. It doesn't. There's no way he's turning this around. There's no way he's gonna get out of this. The hole is just gonna keep getting deeper and deeper, and he's not going to be able to climb out today. So before we get into that, when we do the live player ratings and we do everything that we usually do, please smash the like button for me if you can. Greatly appreciate it, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber already. But I mean, I don't know what we watched today. I don't know what it was. It was complete capitulation. It was an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. I am broken. I think you've seen the images of our fans inside Old Trafford at the end of the match, broken. There's no hope left in here. And, if you came, it was even worse being there. Well, I'm sorry for that, Richard, that you had to go through that. I could only imagine. I saw the images on the TV of the fans. The match was over. Fans just in absolute despair, couldn't even bring themselves to leave the stadium because of just what they've just witnessed. And that first half was, an absolute disaster. It couldn't have gone any worse than what you thought it could have possibly done. And on Erik Ten Hag, there's just no answers. There's no fix. He's not gonna do it. From what I seen today, there's no turning that around. There's no fixing that. There isn't. I think he will be sacked. I'm not gonna sit here. I'm not gonna call for him to be sacked, but I think he's gonna get sacked. I don't think there's a way for him to turn it around. Grace is in here as well, so good to see you guys. I hope you guys aren't too bad, but I feel pretty broken. I have a lot to say, but I don't know what to say at the same time. It's really bad. And Grace is saying, I'm not saying Erik F this club. I can't be bothered. Everyone is losing their mind. I'm going to have a few drinks. Well, I don't blame you, Grace. Have as many drinks as you want, because I think you need it today after what we saw. I mean, that first half, and we'll get into the second half, but the first half, I just don't know what we saw. I mean, they didn't show up. I had a fear on the last episode, that I was afraid. I was nervous and I was afraid, because I said we don't know what we're going to get. We don't know if they're going to turn up. We don't know if they're going to, do something similar to what they did against Liverpool. And it was worse, in my opinion. It was worse. 2 minutes in to start the match, and you let Van de Ven run through, from the halfway line. You just let him run through like we were a bunch of schoolboys playing against men, ripped us right open, and they score immediately. Our defensive shape today was an absolute disaster. We didn't know what we were doing. We afforded way too much space. We couldn't keep up with the pace of Spurs. And I said yesterday, there was all the matches we played, except for Liverpool, we looked at it and we said we didn't get outplayed. Well, today we got absolutely outclassed, outplayed, outworked, out-tactic, everything in every aspect of the match. And what frustrated me the most, and what pissed me off the most about that match, is why did it take 2 goals down and a man down to start playing at the 65th, 70th minute of the match? It doesn't make sense. And it infuriates me that why does it take those circumstances to start playing football, to start playing the way that we should be playing from the second the whistle blows in the beginning of the match? Because we didn't do it until that minute of the game. But you know what? That minute of the game, it means fuck all to play in that way because we already lost the match. We lost the match in the first half. The match was over. It was over. You know, there was a bit of hope that maybe we could go into halftime 1-0 down. We played shit. The manager gets in, gives him a talking to, something, changes some of the tactics, something. And we go back out in the second half 1-0 down, and we change the game. But Bruno gets a fucking red card, which I don't think was necessarily a red card in my opinion. But again, it was stupid from him anyway. He slipped, whatever. I don't think it was a red card. But after you get that red card and you put in that first half performance, you're not coming back from that. You're not coming back from that. And then on top of that, when you start the second half, you're down a man. You know they're going to go to kill the game. They have the advantage. And yet, you know, we changed a couple things. Why is Delo still inverting, going into the midfield and leaving the fucking back open with three at the back so we can see the second goal? Onana could have done better on the save. I think they got a fortunate, deflection that went their way. He did good to put it on target. I think Onana could have got his hand to it, probably should have got his hand to it and maybe stopped it. But, these are minor details that at the end of the day, the bigger picture is that we are absolutely shit. There is nothing left in this team. And this season is done. I'm sorry if you came here and you're looking for a bit of, there's no positivity. There is no positivity. And you know me, the people that watch this show, every single time we go live, they know that I always try to be positive. I always try to find the hope in something, but there's nothing. There is nothing. There is nothing left in this team. I don't know, the managers is out of answers, the players, it just seems like they're not buying into whatever he's telling them anymore. It looks like they've given up on him. They've given up on themselves. And Erik Ten Hag doesn't have answers. So, I don't see where anything is going to improve in the next 2 to 3 matches. And if it doesn't improve in the next 2 to 3 matches, in my opinion, he's gone. I think they will get rid of him. And not that I want him to be gone, because, it's just whatever. But maybe at this point, maybe it's something that has to happen. I'm not here. I'm not one that sits on here or ever and calls for managers to be sacked. But maybe at this point, we've hit the point where the only option we have is to change the manager, unfortunately. And you know what? It's not all his fault. It's on the players as well. But at the end of the day, if the players aren't buying into the manager, and, it's not going to go up from here. The only way for it to go up is to get in a new manager. So, and Richard saying this guy is stubborn with his team selection. He certainly is. And we talked about that, and we said how it can hurt him and it could get him the sack. And it's happened with other managers. It's happened with Solskjaer. It's happened with Mourinho. It's happened with every single manager that's been here before him. And he's doing the same thing with certain players. And, and he got it wrong today. He got it wrong today. Hindsight, is great. And you wish you could have it before. But, one of my things that I will say, maybe we started playing football. Now, I know Spurs, they didn't want to concede the goal, right? That was part of the plan. Don't give up the goal. You're up a man. You can defend a lot better. You have the numbers. And we can counterattack because you have the advantage. But it just seemed like when we made all the changes, right? And Bruno was off because of his red card, and we put in Mount, and, Casemiro came on after, and Eriksen came on after. We started to play. So for me, it was an indication we had the wrong players starting today. The selection was wrong. And I can't say, I told you so, because I looked at the lineup and I predicted pretty much that lineup, and I thought that was the right idea to go with that lineup, but clearly we were wrong. I was wrong. Ten Hag was wrong, and it just didn't happen. And Noah's back in here saying Erik Ten Hag out, and I feel you, and you guys have been Erik Ten Hag out for a while, and I get that, and I think he's done. I think he's done, Noah. I think you're gonna get what you want. So, um, I just don't see there was absolutely nothing in there to show that there is something that he has something to work with, that there is something that he's going to solve. There's so many problems, so many issues. I mean, to play a match, not even a match, to play the first half in that manner, that looked worse than when it was the end for Mourinho. It looked just as bad, if not worse, when it was the end for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So I don't see him turning it around. I think this is the beginning of the end. I don't see how you come back from a display like that. I don't see where you're going to turn it around. So, and Richard saying we won't beat Porto away, and I doubt we will beat Villa. No, I think the next two matches are going to be losses as well. And this is why I'm saying that he's done. He's finished, because we all said, this game was a must win. We got absolutely obliterated. We lost. And I don't think we're going to beat Porto. It's a tough match already as it is. The dressing room is on the floor after today. I'm sure there's arguments, fighting. The manager is pissed off. There's no positivity anywhere. Anywhere you want to look, there is no positivity at Manchester United right now. There's no positivity with the players. There's no positivity with the manager. There's no positivity in the way we play. There's no positivity in any aspect at Manchester United right now. We are rock bottom. We have hit rock bottom at this point under this manager. And it's not going to change. It's not going to change. We've been through this before. We've said it before. The third season for the manager, it's where it all falls apart. The second season is where it starts to look very shaky and worrisome, and we've hit both of those points. History is repeating itself at Manchester United once again, and it's not going to change. Erik Ten Hag is not God. He's not a miracle worker. There's not some magic answer that he's going to find out when he wakes up tomorrow morning. It is consequently done for him. And it's only, in my opinion now, a matter of time of when INEOS pull the trigger, because they're going to be sitting there today looking at that display, looking at that result, and looking at the past results and how we started the season, and they're going to realize that the manager has to change, because there is no trajectory up from this point. There's just nothing. Ray is saying we don't go nowhere as Man United before we get Bruno and Rashford. I mean, yeah, those are issues. Like I said, we have a lot of issues. They're issues. There's other issues involving multiple players. There's issues with the coach. There's issues with the coaching staff itself. There's issues inside of the club. It's just bad. And Richard saying, I was listening to Ten Hag on the way back to the hotel. He said we have to correct these mistakes the same as last year. I mean, listen, if you're Erik Ten Hag at this point, if I'm the manager, I don't know what to say either. What are you gonna say? I get what you're saying, Richard, but what are you gonna say at this point? What are you gonna say besides, calling them out and saying it was absolutely shit and we're lost, and and he's not going to do that. But what are you going to say? Because I think we're all pretty much almost at a loss for words, other than repeating the same shit that we're all saying. Even Ray is saying, I don't know where to go. I think many of us don't know where to go. I think, there's the and that's what I'm saying. The only possible way to go from here to change something, to get a change out of anything, would be what Noah is saying, and he wants Erik Ten Hag out. And that seems like the most possible and plausible thing that's going to come out of here. Is Erik Ten Hag will be sacked, and that's the only way that some type of change, and not necessarily that it's going to work, because we've seen when we changed and we got Solskjaer, we got positivity and it worked for a little bit. But then, we got stuffed by Everton and it was bad. And then we had, Ali got sacked and we bring in Ranić and it got even worse. So, it depends, I guess, who the candidate is that they bring in, whether it's Rude, maybe if it's Rude, or somebody else on the outside, maybe they go back in for Tuchel. Maybe they compromise with Tuchel a little bit and give him a little bit of what he wants, and they find some sort of agreement. But we're in the worst possible place you can be in, and Ray is saying the only blame Erik Ten Hag. Keep playing left player on the right to keep Rashford in the team. Well, he does a couple things that he's doing that is keeping him, that's hurting himself, and I believe is hurting the team. So, I think we've spoke about it many times. I think the inverted thing doesn't work. It's not working. Hasn't been working. And I think you've seen that from today. As well. And just position wise, and picking players. Bruno hasn't been good. Got a red card. Frustration. Bad. Just a stupid, clumsy challenge. Which I don't think it was a red card anyway. But when you're in the shit, right? Which we were already in. The worst possible scenario. The worst possible scenario that could have happened today was you go into this match, you start the match like we did, you concede a goal 2 minutes into the match, and you're getting absolutely ripped apart and outplayed, and then your captain ends up getting a red card and you go down to 10 men after that 43-minute display. That is the worst possible scenario that could have happened for Erik Ten Hag and Manchester United. And guess what the reality of that is? Is that it happened. It happened. So, we are in a cycle of negativity and shit. And we're not going to get out of it until there is some type of a major change or something. Axe has joined us now as well. Richard saying, well, I can tell you today, those fans in the Stretford end never stopped singing. No, I mean, for the fans that were there, and I'm not going to blame the ones that left, because I understand. It's piss pouring rain. What are you watching? What are we watching anyway? The match was over. I get it. I get it to leave the stadium. The ones that stayed, I got to give you a clap, because those fans to stay, to keep singing, to stay there and to keep supporting when you're watching what they just gave us. You couldn't pay me $1 million to rewatch that first half. You couldn't pay me $5 million. I will never ever rewatch that first half. I am absolutely just distraught from that first half. I will have fucking nightmares over what I just witnessed. I mean, I sat there watching the match completely helpless, because I know that it's over. It's over. It's over. There is no coming back from this. There is no coming back from this. Zibit, I can't pronounce your name. Zitbike is saying sack this fraud tonight. Well, listen, I don't like the word fraud, but I understand. You want him sacked, and I can't argue with it tonight. Because not even that I don't think that it's all his fault, but I just don't think there's any other way to go at this point, because I don't think that there will be an improvement. I don't think that there will be an answer. There is nothing to say after you witnessed tonight at home at Old Trafford, when we were desperate for a win, when we needed the 3 points, and you go and you put in a performance like that. The disconnect between the players. I mean, there was moments where, and everybody was shit. Xerxes was bad, Rashford was bad, Garnacho struggled, the midfield was bad, the defense was bad. The whole team was absolutely dysfunctional. And it almost seemed like, and I'm not saying this is what happened, but it almost seemed like they had a fucking team meeting early in the morning, and they were just like, yeah, fuck it. We're not even going to turn up today. Fuck this. We can't be asked. I don't even want to be here. That's what it seemed like to me. That's what it seemed like for me. So, you know, I'm almost, as much as I'm talking, I'm almost lost for words because I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's just what's going on in my brain over and over again, and I just can't understand, you know. And Richard saying it could have been 6 or 7, only Timo Werner couldn't finish. Could have been 6 or 7, probably should have been 6 or 7. We talked about it before. We only deserve, you know, what we deserve, what we put in. And we put in such a shit performance. We deserved to lose 7-0. We deserved to get scored 6. We were lucky we didn't. And it didn't help, you know, that we went to man down as well. But, you know, the one of the things that frustrate me the most, and I said it in the beginning of the show, and because it's such a frustrating and it just pisses me off. Why, in that period that we were down 2-0 and we were down a man in the 65th minute, why was that the time that they decided that they wanted to go play the way that we've been saying they need to play? I don't get it. They pushed up, they moved the ball quicker, they were more brave. Why? What is the actual reason for that? Is that from the manager? Is that from them? Is that from both? I don't have the answers for this anymore. I don't know what to think. I don't really know what to say. I'm completely lost. Completely lost. They're lost. I'm lost because they are lost. And Ray's saying, calm down, change the manager, is going to the same situation for the rest 10 years. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. It depends, I guess. It could be very well. And I understand that 100%. Makes sense, right? And I see the arguments for that. At the same time, if I sit here and think about it, and it's not the manager, like 100% his fault. And I get it, because we have other problems, and those problems are still going to be there regardless of the manager. And the new manager is not a fucking miracle worker. He's not going to solve those problems overnight. He may never solve those problems. Those problems might still be here a year or two down the line. But I'm saying at this moment in time, we are at the bottom. We are rock bottom. And the only way, actually, we're not rock bottom, because I think it could still get worse. Because if we're rock bottom, the only way from bottom is up. You can't go any lower. But we're close to rock bottom. We're close. And I think we're going to hit it. That's what it is. I think we're going to hit it. I think we are going to absolutely crash and burn. Because that's what I see, and that's what they've given us. So, he needs to go, Ray. Even Richard is, and I do not want another Dutch manager near my club. Well, the Dutch managers 2 for 2, not good, but you might not get that, Richard, because Ruud van Nistelrooy might have to take over. So that'll be 3. And they do have that saying, third time's the charm, I guess, but I don't. Not right now, not at this point. Ray's saying, Erik, it's manager's hands to sit this players out. Well, that's the only thing he can really do. I mean, your back's up against the wall. You're in the trenches. You're getting, you're in the deepest hole you possibly can at this moment in time. And you're going to get showered with a bunch of negativity, and, a pile of shit is going to be being thrown on top of you. And if he has anything about him at this point, go and make the changes that you probably should have been doing. I mean, Bruno Fernandes isn't going to be able to play for the next 3 matches if Erik Ten Hag is even here by that time in the next 3 matches. I mean, we don't know INEOS. We don't. I mean, we kind of know INEOS. We don't know INEOS. We know old Manchester United. We know prior to INEOS. We know that they probably would have stuck with Erik Ten Hag probably all the way through November up until December. But we don't know INEOS. They can sack him tonight, for all we know. We don't really know how they actually operate and handle the situations. I mean, we could kind of look at what they did at Nice, but this is Manchester United. They have different people also in charge. Um, than they have at Nice than they have over here, barring one or two people. They can sack him tonight. I mean, we don't really know what's gonna happen. Axe said he came here for me, but he's pissed off. Well, I appreciate that, Axe, and I'm right with you there. So tomorrow, end of discussion. Tuchel in the morning. Well, there's no argument against it anymore. There really isn't. There really isn't. If it happens, it happens. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm not one of those people. I don't like to call for the sacking of a manager. I think I will say, when it's the end for a manager, but I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm not going to sit here and scream, sack him now, sack him now. If they decide to do that, they decide to do it, and, I won't fight against it. When I think it's a wrong decision, I will fight against it, but at this point, you can't really argue. You can't really argue with it if they do decide to do it. So, Ray saying 3 minutes, 2 minutes second half, and after the third sub, deep second half, 3 goals conceded. I mean, all the goals were shit. All the goals we conceded were shit. And like you pointed out, 2-3 minutes into the first half, concede a goal that you should never concede because Van de Ven, I don't give a fuck how fast he is. I don't care if he's Usain Bolt. He should never be allowed to make that run. And it was a similar thing to what happened against us in Twente. Only the one in Twente was worse because he dribbled from his fucking edge of the box. But should never be allowed. Should never be allowed. I don't know how they allow him to do that. I don't care how fast he is. Should never happen. You start the second half, you're down a man. You know they're going to kill the match. You know they're going to come for you. And you give up another shitty goal. And then in the third goal, okay, Casemiro gets beat by his man for the ball. What was the marking? Why was Solanke unmarked? Why was he free? Why did nobody pick him up? Nobody followed him into the box. There was just nothing. Nothing. So, and I feel bad for Richard the most because he was actually there. He actually went there and witnessed it and had to sit there in the fucking pouring rain to witness that. I was in my house at least. At least I was dry. At least I could get up and kind of go to the kitchen or something, and just take my eyes off of it for 2 minutes. Richard had to actually witness it live in the stadium while he's, the only option you have is really to leave. And if you don't want to leave, I commend you and I applaud you for not leaving, and I get it because some people, that's their decision. They don't want to leave the team. They support the team. Others, I get the frustration and why you would want to leave. I get it. So, Axe is saying it has to be the manager. How many of the starting players were brought by him? It's still both. It's still both. But, maybe you could say it's more on the manager and less on the players. But what I've seen from the players today, Axe, you can't be a Manchester United player. I don't care. I get it. Okay, player selection. I get it. Tactics. I get setup. I get all of that. And that all goes on the manager. But at the same time, you can't be players on Manchester United at home at Old Trafford in a huge match and play in the manner they did. You can't do it. You can't do it. And people are arguing that it's Ten Hag's job to get them to bring them to the levels. But where's the responsibility for the players? They're men, most of them, right? Most of them are senior players, experienced players. If they're not willing to bring themselves up, what the fuck is Erik Ten Hag gonna do for them? He can't go on the pitch. He can't, he can't slap them in the head and make them fucking energized to play and do the correct things on the pitch. So, it's both. It's both. But what I'm saying is we've hit the point where I think the players are not buying into Erik Ten Hag anymore. I think they're done. I think they're done with him, which when that happens, as a manager, you're not winning them back. You're not getting them back. There's no There's nothing you can do as a manager when you lose the players, when you lose even the majority of the squad. I don't think it's the whole squad, but I think when you lose the majority of the dressing room, there's no chance for you to come back from that. And I think from what we've seen today, I think that is the case. So, whether Erik Ten Hag figures something out tactically, switches a couple players, I still don't think that there's anything for him to do. I think it is over for him. And some people will be absolutely ecstatic about that because they've been Erik Ten Hag for a long time. And I guess the words you want to hear is congratulations, you were right. But you know what? Those words hurt me because you don't see the picture that we have failed. The club has failed because Erik Ten Hag has failed and the players have failed. So now, how happy are you that we are in an absolute shit position? Because Erik Ten Hag does things that I don't agree with. I don't like some of the shit that he does. I don't necessarily agree with some of the philosophy he does. But I wanted him to succeed because that means that the club would succeed, and that means that we can be happy and we can enjoy our club. But he's failed. He's failed, so we have failed. So how happy are you now? That's the question I would ask for them. Because listen, it's okay if you don't think he's the correct man, but in the tone in which they speak, like championing that he has failed, because your hatred for the guy, because your dislike for him is so high that you're almost rooting for Manchester United to fucking lose. I can never understand that. So, Ray saying we will play better without Bruno. It's a possibility, but also I think I think we've gotten to a point, Ray, where it's bigger than this now. I think it's bigger than Bruno. I think I really do. I feel that the majority of that squad, whatever he tells them for the next match, I just don't think that their hearts and their brains are going to be in it. And I don't think they're going to get I don't think he's going to be able to get a performance out of them. I think there's a handful of players that we can do it, that will still do it. But I think the majority is just absolutely, they're done. I mean, we're broken. I think they're broken as well. And I don't think that they're buying in, and Axe is here saying Tuchel in Monday morning. Richard saying the transitional football he wants to play doesn't work with the team we have or in the Premiership. And I agree with you on that point, Richard. I think his philosophy that he wanted to implement here at Manchester United, in the Premier League, and with the current group of players we have, I think he's failed in that aspect. I don't think it hasn't clearly worked. And there's no, it's just, it just hasn't worked. And because he's stubborn and that's what he believes in, he hasn't changed it and he's doubled down on it and it's backfired. And it's just shit been thrown in his face. That's what it is. So Richard, I agree. But if that's 100% stone cold fact, Richard, there's no other way to go around then. The only way to go is right through. And right through is for him to get the sack because he's not going to change it. Unless he has some sort of crazy revelation and decides that he wants to scrap everything that he's been trying to build for the past 3 years and that he's so stubbornly stuck to in the next match going forward, if he's even here for that, right? The only way that we're going to see that specific change that Richard mentioned is if a new manager comes in with a new idea of how to play. That's the only way. So, Lyle saying Erik Ten Hag is closer to the sack than safety. 100%. 100%. I believe he's super close to the sack at this point because I don't think I don't think we're going to get a result against Porto, and I'm afraid of what Aston Villa and Unai Emery are going to do to us if he is even still here. But let's talk in the manner of that he is still here, because right now he has not been sacked. I am afraid of what Aston Villa and Unai Emery will do to us when we go to Villa Park at this point, because I don't see a turnaround in any aspect. We are so far behind. And you're talking about Tottenham, who were also struggling, who also, Ange was getting criticized and Tottenham were getting criticized. They were on the same points as us. They were basically on the same level of us. They came to Old Trafford and absolutely obliterated us. And what do you think Aston Villa are going to do? A team that's performing better than both of us. They will absolutely embarrass us. They will make us want the club to go into fucking administration and shut down. So I don't know, but I think this is the beginning of the end for me. I think it's over. I really do. I really do. And I hate to say it, but in my opinion, it's over. Richard's saying, I don't know why we can't go back to what we are known for and be a counter-attacking team. Well, Richard, I think we can't even really do that. We tried to do that in moments of the game, and we couldn't even do that. We were hitting long balls. We were deep. We were slow. We weren't really attacking that well. We actually gave Tottenham basically all the possession in the first half. We were actually trying to counterattack them when we got the opportunity, and we still couldn't do it. So that's why I'm saying I don't think whatever Erik Ten Hag does at this moment, I think it's gone to the point where he's lost too much of the players that they don't buy into whatever he's telling him. And therefore, no matter what he actually does, I don't think it'll work. I don't think there will be a turnaround. So Lyle saying we have Porto and Villa away next before the international break, then Brentford and Fenerbahce, and I cannot see a win. And I agree with you, Lyle. I'm looking at those matches. I think we can lose every single one of them. I mean, barring Brentford. I could see we get a draw. If we don't get a win. But Porto, I could see us losing. Villa, I could see us getting not even a loss, getting obliterated. Something similar today, if not worse. Fenerbahce, I could see a loss for sure. And then Brentford, who knows? They could beat us, but we could also, maybe a draw or something. So, that's what, 1 point? 0 points out of those matches. Lyle saying, heck, Leicester and West Ham, and I can't see us winning. I mean, no, there's nothing, there is nothing to, from what we watched today, there is nothing to look at that team, the manager, the players, the tactics. There is no aspect that you can look at Manchester United and say, well, maybe we can turn it around there. Not from what we've seen today. Not from the result we got today. Not from what we got today and what they gave us today. There is absolutely nothing left. And that's why I think it's over. It really is. Because, you know me, I would be sitting here trying to tell you, well, we did these bits and parts good in the match today, and while we didn't score the goals, we did okay in periods of the game. There's none of that today. There's none of that today. What we watched today was an absolute disgrace, and it's fucking embarrassing. It's embarrassing. I'm getting text messages and messages from people asking me, what the hell happened? You guys look awful. You guys are terrible. You guys are shit. What is going on? You guys are so bad. I've never seen team play this bad before. And I don't know what to respond back to them because I can't say anything. I don't know what to say. I don't. And Ray's saying, I wish to know who makes the decision not to buy a left back, Delo, play like shit, no replacement. Well, that's another problem, Ray. And this is what I'm saying. There's so many problems at this point. It's swallowing Erik Ten Hag up, and it's gonna swallow him up. He's not gonna manage to get out of this. But at the same point, we don't have a left back. Okay, you can make the argument we should have bought a left back. You can make the argument, well, we didn't have the funds to get the left back in, right? But then there's the other point of that we've been saying, why is Harry Amos not involved in the squad? He is at least a fucking left back. At least that we can have one on the bench just in case something like today happens where Delo was absolutely shit. Richard, and not to pick on Richard, but Richard could have fucking played left back better than Delo today. 100%. He was so bad, he needed to come off in 25 minutes. But who are you putting on? Johnny Evans? So he could get ripped apart? Who are you putting on at left back? And that's just one of the minor problems in the grand scheme of things that we have. I mean, I don't get it. And it infuriates me even more because not only is this happening this season, this is the second season that we are in that we don't have a left back and we are getting fucked for it. So they didn't learn from last season and they decided that they're going to play the waiting game on our left backs instead of doing something proactive about it. Okay, you don't have the funds for a left back, call the fucking kid up. Put him on the bench. Even if you don't use him, at least he's an option. Because you didn't sub Delo out, which means that you don't think Johnny Evans is an option. And you didn't put on Maguire and shift Martinez to the left, so they're not an option. So what is the thought process behind that? We, again, shooting ourselves in the foot, making it harder for ourselves when we're already in a difficult position. Richard saying the players need to take responsibility also 100%. This is not just Erik Ten Hag. Again, I said it before and I'll say it again. This is 100% the players as well. So, as much as the manager is getting shit on today, the players, themselves as well, because you can't go on that pitch and perform the way you did. You can't. And, the manager can only tell you so much. The manager can only tell you so much and set you up in such a manner. But there are minimal things that you have to do as a player for Manchester United when you go on the pitch, and especially when you're playing Old Trafford in a match against Tottenham Hotspur. And you can't even do the fucking basics. You can't make a 10-yard pass. You can't fucking move. You can't sprint. You can't make runs. You pass the ball into the center of the pitch to absolutely fucking nobody and give away possession at 10 seconds after receiving it. You can't do that. That has nothing to do with tactics of Erik Ten Hag. That has to do with the players making wrong decisions and not being up for the match and not wanting to do their job and what's expected of them. So, but I guess we'll do player ratings. I really don't want to do them because I really just want to give the fucking team a 0, which some of the players don't really deserve it, but we could kind of do it in a little bit. Let me go through the rest of the comments. So, I think that's right. Yeah, Richard agreeing with me. Axe saying, Erik Ten Hag, look, let's start from 0 now. Maybe we can get into UCL. It has to be tactics and miscommunication. Most of the players were transferred by him. I mean, but if most of the players were transferred by him and they're his players, where is the miscommunication? Why is there miscommunication? There shouldn't be miscommunication. They're his players. They understand him more than fucking anybody. So how is there miscommunication? I don't, I'm not going at you, Axe. I just don't, if there is miscommunication, I don't understand how. I don't understand how there's miscommunication. Ray's saying we need some luck. We needed luck. I think we're shit out of luck, Ray. I think we're, listen, the universe works in a way where when you're in a cycle of negative shit, and the negativity and the shit just keeps spinning around you. Unless you make some type of a drastic change, that cycle of negativity and shit is going to keep circling around you. You will not get out of that. And I think the moment for we needed some luck We needed it a couple matches ago. We needed it today. On, Xerxes, that goal could have brought us back in. Didn't get it. We hit the post at one point. Didn't get it. We're not going to get it. We're not going to get it. We are shit out of luck. We are not, that luck is not going to come our way until circumstances are changed at this club, because it is so negative that bad things are going to keep happening to us. Lyle is saying all we want is to enjoy our damn club. It's fine to lose a game, but lose it competitively. Fight, and if we go down, then at least we can be proud. And I think that's probably the sentiment of tonight. And probably the sentiment of this season. That's how usually I feel, and usually what I try to get across in my message. And sometimes maybe I do get a little bit lost in it, but I think that's what it boils down to, Lyle. That's all we really want. And you lose a match, you lose a match. You get outplayed on the day, but not from what we've been seeing. Not from what we've been seeing this start of the season, coming off of last season. Then there's no fight. There is no fight. They're not competitive. They're weak. They're completely underperforming. They're not. There's no fight in the team. There's no will to win. There's no positivity from them. There's no confidence from them. Everything that I look at in every aspect of this club is basically, if it's not on the floor, it's almost there. So, and Axe is disagreeing with Ray, saying we need to develop our ability to build up, develop team chemistry, hold the midfield, press high, and we can't do any of those. And I think it's too late for that. I don't think you're wrong, Axe. I think those are all. I think they're all good points, but I think it's too late for that. We are in a point already in the season, because of the results and the performances. We are in a position, we don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. We are fucked. We are fucked. And I'm sorry for my profanity and everything today, but I just have to say it how it is. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it anymore. Like, we are fucked. And the only way around this, and maybe later on I calm down, but right now you're getting the real reaction from me. And the only way I see forward, you have to sometimes, you know what? Not even go straight through it. You got to go around it. You got to go around it. You got to go around it. And what I mean by go around it is going straight through it is sticking with this manager and trying to fucking, solve all these problems that we have, and trying to make your way out of the mud, at the quicksand that you're in, and trying to crawl out of it or something like that. And sometimes when there's a severe problem, you have to go around the problem and not through the problem, and go around the problem would to be to change the manager. But I don't have an answer for that either, because I don't know who you get in. I don't know who's the correct answer. Tuchel? I don't know. I wasn't convinced by Tuchel. I don't know if he'll work. Maybe he comes in, he does a fantastic job. Maybe things turn around. Maybe it continues to go all to shit. Do you stick Rude in there? I don't know what's the right answer right now. That's for INEOS to decide and make the call. But, we will see as we go, because, it's a day-to-day thing now. So we'll see what INEOS does, and we're going to have to take it one step at a time from there. Some people might feel very confident in their answer. Obviously, there's a lot of people, I think, that they're saying, number one thing you start with, sack Ten Hag. Number two, maybe they have a specific manager in mind. They want that. But then you have to start looking deeper, because there are other problems that are going to go beyond, regardless of whatever manager we put in there. And how do you solve those problems? Because they will be problems for the new manager, and they will hurt the team, and they will hurt the new manager as well. And how you solve those problems, I don't think anybody has a clear answer for them. So, I lost my place a little bit. Tottenham's second season performance is what we dream of. Set. Well, listen, I think their second season performance so far isn't even that good. I mean, they had the same amount of points as us. I think their second season so far, let's see where they go from it. But I don't think they were doing that great before us. We gave them an injection of hope and a rebound. At our home, like if you want, if your team is struggling, just come fucking play us. We'll make you feel like you're prime fucking Barcelona right now. We'll make you feel like you're Real Madrid when they won the Champions League back to back to back. And you could be the most shit team, but we'll make you feel like that, and we'll give you a shot of positivity, and we'll give you a chance to make your season better. Right now, Richard saying we were very slow to respond to passes today. We were slow for everything. And it was wrong. It was just wrong, Richard. I mean, listen, if you can't keep up with the players, and the passing and the movement, you need to cut the passing lanes. You need to cut the space that they're moving into. And we weren't doing that. We were so open. We were getting obliterated. It was shit. It was shit all around. Shit all around. All the players, when they get the ball, they all want to look back and pass back. We play backwards, then forward. There's probably multiple different reasons for that. I think, one, they're lacking confidence. Two, I want to say, and I don't know if it's actually the thing or not, but that might be because of tactics. That might be because of instructions from the manager. I think, and I said it, when I was watching the match with my father, and I said it to him, and I said, I think it was Lyle last show. I don't know if it was Lyle or Axe. One of you said they need to play with freedom. And when I'm watching that match and I'm looking at Tottenham, and I'm like, they play with freedom. The positions, the players, they play with freedom. They also play with confidence, and they also play with intent and, an attacking mindset. But what I see from us is, and Ray pointing out that when the players, they get the ball, they look back and they pass back. And it's like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, it looks like our players are like, they're almost chained. They're being chained to a certain spot on the pitch, a certain position. Like, it looks like they don't have the freedom to make the call on the pitch that at this moment in time, okay, I know we need to do possession. I know that, my original position and instruction is to be here. But what's going on the pitch, there's an opportunity to make this run. There's an opportunity to take this player on. And it looks like that they're being restrained from doing so because of the tactics. Now, that could be wrong. It could just be that the players themselves just can't do it, or just don't have the mindset, the ability, whatever it is. But that was what I saw today. I when I watched us, I was like, whoever said it on the last show that they need to play with freedom, I was like, you can see the stark contrast in today's match. Tottenham are playing with freedom and creativity. We were not. We were not. And I don't think we have been. And I don't know if that's coming specifically from the manager. I don't know if that's the manager and the players, or that's just the players. But that is a big, big crutch, and it has been hurting us for quite some time. Axe saying, I haven't seen such a bad performance ever since Moyes was the manager, and yes, I mean before Bruno was sent off. No, before Bruno was sent off. Before Bruno was sent off was the worst display I've seen this team, and we've seen this team lose 7-0. We've seen this team, lose 3-0 at home to Liverpool. We've seen this team. We've seen some horrid performances and results. But that display in the first half, 42 minutes, was the worst. And it ranks as probably, if not top 1, top 2 in the past 11 years. In the past 11 years. It was absolutely horrible. Horrible. Where is Amos? I mean, that's what I've been asking, because we could have used them today, because you get into a situation where Delo was absolutely shit, needed to be taken off. Not that anybody was really good on the pitch, but he was probably one of the worst ones. Uh, I give him a fucking 2 or something, a 1, in terms of performance, and there's nothing we could really do. And again, I said it, coming from the manager, you have to make that change, and you can't make that change because you're like, well, what am I going to do? Put Johnny Evans at left back? He's going to get obliterated. You put Harry Maguire on or Lindelof, but I guess Lindelof isn't fit enough to play that many minutes. You shift Martinez to left back. Well, you put in Maguire. Maguire didn't have a good performance last time, and he's going to get obliterated. He was too slow for today's match. So you can't do that. So you just have to stick with Delo playing absolutely garbage, like he was fucking blindfolded or something today. I don't know what it was, but he was horrible. And it hurts because I thought, he's been one of our better players for quite some time. And he was one of the worst players, if not the worst player on the pitch today. So, we bought 2 young strikers. Why? I mean, you can question that. I think the thinking behind that was, we have to build a team. But then you have to give the manager leeway. So I don't know. There's a lot of contradictory things you can think about and say, well, if the thinking was this, then how are we saying this? And it'll really just give you a headache at this point. My head hurts. I'm starving. I haven't eaten anything yet. It's just a mess today. Axe asking, do they have a team psychologist? Supposedly they got one, and if not, okay, maybe Erik Ten Hag should not do the motivational work and stick to the tactics. Well, I don't even think Erik Ten Hag is doing the motivational work. I think that's what we have the other people there for. If you listen to the players talk, they talk about Rude and Hacky. They're the ones that really communicate the most. And there's some other people there that we don't really talk about or don't really get put in the spotlight. I think they're the ones that are doing it. I don't think Erik Ten Hag is necessarily doing that. I think he gives the talk in the dressing room. I think, pre-match, I think he gives the talk, but everything else, I don't necessarily think he's the one anyway. And if they don't have psychologists, which I think, if I remember correctly, that it was reported that when Erik Ten Hag came in, they did bring in psychologists and stuff like that. Maybe we need new ones. Because it doesn't seem fucking, very good. Axe saying player ratings 4 at best from Oz. Well, I'm gonna do them in a couple seconds. They don't understand him or they don't care, or maybe both. Maybe both. I think that is an issue. I think they don't understand what he actually wants from them, what he tells them. And that is partially his fault, because as a manager, you need to be able to get your message across. And that's probably also the players as well, because you need to be able to understand what the manager is telling you. And if you don't understand, you need to fucking speak up and say, we don't understand what you fucking want from us. So I think it goes both ways. I think, there's a possibility they don't understand what he's telling them, and they're just keeping their fucking mouth closed, and just saying, whatever, fuck it, we'll go try and do whatever, because I've been in teams that are like that, and I've seen it before as well. There's just, you're disillusioned with the manager, you're frustrated with him, you get annoyed with him, you don't understand what the fuck he's asking you, you start to not listen to whatever he tells you because you don't get it and it doesn't make sense and the shit's not working. So you just go on the pitch and you go, you know what, fuck it. We're just gonna do whatever we want at this point. I mean, this is like, we go on there, nobody's agreeing with him, and everybody's like, dude, I don't know what he wants from me. He makes no fucking sense. This shit doesn't work and he keeps trying to do this shit. Like, we could very well be at that point. Now, I don't know for sure because I'm not there. I'm not one of the players, so I can't fucking tell you for sure. But I'm just going off of my own past experience. I've been with coaches that are in that certain scenario where you don't understand what they want from you. And it's not just me, it was the majority of the team. And they continue to try to force you to do that manner. And then the squad gets fed up with that shit. And you go on the pitch, you have a team huddle or whatever, group messages, and you just say, let's just fucking do it our own way, or fuck this. We can't be asked. This is just it just it doesn't make sense. Rich is saying you create your own luck, and unfortunately for us, we create nothing. We create our own demise. We create we actually Richard, we are in such a negative place that we are actually creating unluckiness. Partially. The other part is just us playing shit and getting punished for it. But we're in such a negative spot that we are actually creating unluckiness. We're doing the opposite of that. We can't get something to fall for us. If our life depended on it. We can't get a fucking goal to bring us back in the match, something, a bit of luck, a lucky bounce, a fucking deflection that falls to one of our players, nothing. And that's why I'm saying, whether you believe in whatever philosophy you believe in life, and it's proven across different aspects throughout different, it's not just sports. You can take it into the office environment. You can take it into a work environment of any sort. If there's positivity, performances are higher. Output is higher. And results are higher. When there is negativity, there is none of that. And clearly, there is way more negativity than positivity because we are getting nothing in terms of output and results. We're getting nothing. So for me, the players are in a negative space. The club in general is in a negative space between us, the fans, and just the atmosphere. The manager and the coaching staff are probably in a negative space as well. There's so much negativity that we are getting dragged down deep into the sea of shit of negativity, and we are drowning. We are drowning and gasping for air, and we're going to die at this point. Metaphorically. We are going to get cooked by City, Chelsea, and Arsenal. Lyle, I get it. I don't think he's going to make it to that point. I don't. I really don't. At this point, I don't. I think if they stick with him, if they don't sack him tonight, tomorrow, whatever, if he manages the next 2-3 matches, I don't think we're going to get a result, and I think he will be gone. I don't see it. Now, I could be wrong. They could show up against Porto, win 3-0. They could somehow beat Villa, and maybe the discussion and shit turns around. But I just don't see where that's going to come from. I don't see it, so I don't think it's going to happen. We need a show tomorrow. Call it the day after. Yeah, maybe we'll do one tomorrow. Yeah, we could do one. Axe is saying Tuchel until next summer. Maybe we can get Alonso then. I mean, if I was Alonso, I wouldn't even come. But we do have that aspect now because you know what's funny about Alonso? I would say he would probably end up going to City. If this is Pep's actual last season, obviously nothing has been confirmed yet. There were rumors. But it would just be so on point. And, just to sum up and he is an ex-Liverpool player, so there is that dynamic. There's probably a lot of our fans that will want him. I don't feel so overly hyped about it because I don't like a fucking ex-Liverpool player being in charge of Manchester United. So there's also that dynamic. But it would just sum up everything about Manchester United, that the best manager in the world leaves Manchester City, finally, and you're like, thank God he's gone. And now maybe City will not be as dominant as they used to be. And there's that hope that, they can drop down. And we're stuck in shit. We're not in a position to take that opportunity. That would be Arsenal or somebody else. And City go and get Alonso, who is arguably, one of the fast and upcoming and brightest managers right now that there is. He plays really good football, and what he's done at Leverkusen has been absolutely fantastic. And we would watch him go to City, and they would just continue to pretty much do what they do. It would sum it up perfectly of just how much of in the shit we are. Um, take anyone at this time. I mean, be careful what you wish for, because not anything. I mean, there is fucking Gareth Southgate. I wouldn't say anyone, because I definitely wouldn't take Gareth Southgate. I tell you what, if we sack Ten Hag for Southgate comes in, I don't even think we can continue this channel, for that time being, because I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to watch that. Um, not anyone. Let's not say anyone, because there's a couple people out there I would, while it is this fucking bad, there's two or three people out there that if they came in as the manager to replace Erik Ten Hag, I would be on the floor. I would be on the floor. I would almost rather just be put in a coma. And have somebody fucking wake me up when that's over, because I don't want that for sure. So yeah, something in the air in the dressing room, something around the club. Something around the club. We had positivity. I don't know where it went. You know, we had a new management team. We got technical director in. We had a lot of positivity from, you know, the players we bring in the transfer. I think everybody was happy with the transfer window overly, you know, maybe you would say it was overly optimistic, but there was still positivity, and that quickly got dissipated really fast by the results, and everything has just been sucked out. I mean, I sat there and I'm watching Sky Sports and I'm looking at the fans, um, that just, again, they were broken. You are broken when you just watched your team get obliterated at home, lose 3-0, and put in probably one of the worst performances you've ever watched in your lifetime as a Manchester United fan, whatever age you are, and you can do nothing but sit in a fucking empty stadium, holding your head, looking at the sky or looking at the ground. Broken. They have broken us today. And if they've broken us today, then they are certainly broken. So I'm extremely even more worried now. Because I don't think that there's anything as good is gonna come out of this. No way. Ray's saying he agrees, no freedom besides Bruno. Yeah, I mean that's something, I don't know. How could Chelsea win so easily at Brighton? How can Tottenham play so well in their second season under a new manager? Uh, well, you know, those teams aren't us. We have bigger problems and we are a bigger club than them, and we have been operating very poorly. But at the same time, you can ask that question as, well, they changed the manager and they got somebody that has a good philosophy and was able to implement the philosophy correctly. And I think that's what I was saying before, that Erik Ten Hag, while we bought into the philosophy, and I think, you know, it sounded good coming out of his mouth and on paper, it hasn't translated. And I think he's failed in that aspect. And I think once your philosophy has failed, you have really one option. You throw your fucking philosophy out the window, and you try to do something that you haven't been doing, and that's literally the only shot you got, to keep yourself alive or change things. But I don't think Erik Ten Hag doesn't seem like the man to do that. I think Erik Ten Hag is the man that will stay with the ship, and let it sink to the bottom, and he will go down with it. So, you know, if that's the type of man he is, then he's gonna have to fucking just deal with it. He's just gonna have to take it. And you know, he gets sacked, and he moves on. You know, and we move on as well. So, but yeah, I mean, how could Chelsea win so easily at Brighton? Well, look at the manager they got. I think so far, and you know, he is a new manager, so there's a new manager bounce as well. So you got to see how it goes after that. And again, with Ange, first season they started way better. From when Ange came in to what they were doing now, but they are still in a better position, and Ange still has more of the players and probably has implemented his philosophy a lot better than Erik Ten Hag. So, you know, that's how, in my idea. In my mind. Lyle saying there are no ideas. The players looked lost. Perhaps they need to be sat down and asked where on the pitch are you comfortable and let them be themselves. No other ideas, I guess. Well, that's why I was saying before that, the aspect of it is that they look like they're being restrained on the pitch at times. We lack creativity because it looks like the tactics, it's like they're chained to a position, a certain spot on the pitch. Like, it looks like they don't have the freedom to do certain things in the match when the match is constantly changing. It looks like, we're playing almost like a fucking simulation where it's just like, that's your position, that's your tactic. Don't care what happens on the pitch. Don't give a shit if, there's 100 yards of space in front of you. You better not fucking run and take that player on. You better stop, hold the ball, and make a couple passes and hold the possession. Like, that's what it seems like, and it's very puzzling. I don't know if it's, I don't necessarily know if it's solely the tactics or it's both of them, but it has to be one, the other, or both, for sure. It has to be. This harder is lost to take than the Liverpool game. Erik Ten Hag never going to make it. Everything is against him. Yeah, I mean, that's certainly where we are at right now. Sir Matt Busby was an ex-Liverpool player. Well, there you go, Richard. I mean, that is true. But maybe at the time, I don't know how that would work for today's time, Richard. Because the times have changed. And maybe you could argue it would be worse back then than it would be now, but I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily care too much. I mean, I'm not gonna enjoy it like that. That he's an ex-Liverpool player, but at the end of the day, I just want what's best for the team, and if he's the fucking best option, then we take him. Like, I don't care in that aspect. I'm not gonna get all caught up with the fact that, oh, he's an ex-Liverpool player, so he can never manage Manchester United. Like, no, if he is the best option, then you take the best option. You don't just fucking throw away the best option because he played for Liverpool. Like, I don't. At the end of the day, that's bullshit semantics, in my opinion. Seeing fans leave the stadium mid-game is such a depressing sight. It's depressing, and it's totally understandable. I mean, I totally get it. And I feel bad about it because we're not really too used to that. And, so that's why I can't criticize them because I understand. I get it. I get it. I get it. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if the entire stadium left, because it's what they gave us. And to the fans that stayed there to the very end and to the ones that never stopped supporting, I mean, you guys are always brilliant. And that's why, as much times as sometimes I do get frustrated and annoyed with the fan base or large parts of the fan base, that's just a moment to show you why our fan base is just so great and amazing. Because at times like this, they still continue to support. That's just how much love they have for the club. And then you see the fans that stay in there after the final whistle, and you see how heartbroken and distraught they are because of how much it means to them. There was a couple people in there. I seen them, and I'm fucking looking at them through the TV. I can only imagine what you could feel if you were standing in front of them. But I could just see the hurt in their eyes. Like, there was a couple of them that, and I could feel it, that you could tell that shit hasn't been going great for them in their lives on outside of football. And this was just something to fucking, pile on top of it and add extra shit. I could feel it when I looked into their face. You could tell from how much pain was in their eyes that it was just like this was another something that, something that they can escape from, something that they could get a little bit of enjoyment. And it was just more added shit on top of, their real world problems, unfortunately. I really want this club to succeed with Erik Ten Hag, but man, I can't see how he can't turn this around. I don't think he's going to turn it around. You know me, I always try to be positive, but I don't think there's any turning this around. Ray's agreeing with Axe. I try to get hope every other game, but there's nothing to hope for. I mean, you could hope all you want, but there's nothing to back the hope up at this point. Sanel Maseko is in here. Good to see you. You are saying we were not at our best, but that loss makes me worry about United. I mean, rightfully so. We should be worried. I'm worried. I think everybody in here is worried. I think Erik Ten Hag is worried. I think the coaching staff is worried. I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Omar Barada, and etc. are fucking worried. I think, anybody that cares and actually cares about Manchester United, I think everybody is worried. I think some people are more than worried. I think some people have given up. And I can't blame them for giving up. But yeah, I think some people are way past the point of worrying, and we've given up. I kind of feel like that, and I'm not one to give up. I'm not one to quit. But where do you go? Where do you go from here? Other than sacking the manager, where do you go? Where do you turn it around? What do you change to fix what we've seen? Because it's not just one thing. It's not just two things. There's like 10 things. And it's only going to get worse, in my opinion, unfortunately. And I hate being this negative. But I can't pretend to not, I can't sit here and pretend that what I saw wasn't one of the most negative things I've ever seen. And then be like, and just pretend like, everything's going to be all right. I can't. It's not in me, If I was a pretender, I would be doing shit so that we can get 1,000, 2,000 views per show. And I don't do that because it's not me. I refuse to not be me. At the end of the day, I refuse to not be me. So the hierarchy is definitely weighing up options. I will not be surprised if Erik Ten Hag is gone before November. Honestly, I think Erik Ten Hag has one to two games left. I think so. I think so. I said it before and I'll say it again. I don't see a win at Porto. I think Porto will beat us. And I don't see how we beat Villa. And I think you lose those two matches from the results we already have. Where are we in the league? We're in like 12th or some shit. Where are we? We're 12th. We are 12th. We're 12th. Bournemouth have to play tomorrow, I believe. They could actually jump us and send us to fucking 13th. Is it Bournemouth? Yeah, Bournemouth have to play Southampton. So, Bournemouth have to play tomorrow. They're home. If they win, they actually jump us and send us to 13th, which is, 13th after 6 matches. We got a point in the Europa League to start against FC Twente, a team that you're saying that we should have gotten, we should have had, or we should have 3 points, and we're gonna go play Porto, and we lose, and you're gonna have 1 point out of 6, and then you're gonna play Villa, and you're most likely gonna lose that match, stay on 7 points, and then that means that West Ham can then jump us. Ipswich can also jump us, and Everton can jump us. And you know where that puts us? If we lose against Villa, that would put us in 16th place. 16th place. We would be in 16th place by next week. You can't 16th place. You're not keeping your job. You're fucking gone. So I think we could see it, if they don't do it tonight or tomorrow or whatever, if they give them the Porto match, it is too much of a quick turnaround. So I don't know how they would necessarily do it. It would probably be rude to take over. But I think if he loses the Porto match, I think you're looking at 65 or higher % chance that he gets sacked. Because if you go to Villa after a loss to Porto, and after all the results we gotten, and you absolutely lose, not only lose, but also just get completely outplayed and shit against Villa, and the other teams get the results, we're on 7 points. We're going to be in 16th. We're gonna be under Everton if Everton managed to get a win, an Ipswich win. Now they might not win, so we might not necessarily drop the 16th, but it's still, the possibility is still there. And the fact that the possibility is still there just shows you how bad of a position we are in. It is absolutely horrible. And there is no positive. There is no positive right now. Ray's saying take the team and let them watch the scenes of the footage after the game. They should respond to that footage. I think they do that already, Ray. I think they do that. I think that's one of the more scarier parts. I'm pretty sure one of Erik Ten Hag's things is like, analysis, watching matches, showing them videos. I think they show them videos of their positioning and all that shit. I think that's something they do already, which is even more worrying because they're already doing that. That's why I'm saying I don't think there is a fix for this. I don't think no matter what you do, something in that aspect, as of right now, you can show them footage, you can do this and that. I don't think it's going to fix anything. I think we've hit the point where no matter what he does, unless he does something absolutely crazy, and now one of them has been forced into his hands, right? Because Bruno Fernandes cannot play for 3 matches in the Premier League. But I would say, if he wants to do something groundbreaking, if he wants to try and save himself, if he gets the opportunity to do so, you go into that fucking Porto match, you don't play Bruno Fernandes, and you don't play fucking Marcus Rashford. And you play whoever you gotta play. Whatever players gave you the most today, and while they, were all poor, the ones that actually fucking did something when you put them on the pitch, you put those players on. The ones that you've been neglecting, the ones that you haven't been giving the most minutes to and the most chances to, you play them. And you set the team up to play in a certain fucking way, and you go from there. Because even after today, I think we're going to see Bruno against Porto. And then obviously he'll be out for the Premier League matches because there's nothing you can do about it. So, 2 more consecutive losses, and they will change him. At this point, we will see clearly how many of the players back up Erik Ten Hag. They either win or desire him sacked. It is obvious by now. Change will come during the international break. 2 games left. That is true, actually. I did forget about that there is an international break after the 2 matches. So, yeah, I mean, if you're Erik Ten Hag, that's not fucking good for you. You know what I mean? In terms of, wanting to keep a job. Probably the worst possible time. You just got embarrassed and obliterated at home by Tottenham. You're gonna go play 2 of the toughest matches you could play right before an international break, and then there's an international break, so there's a lot of time to make a decision, ponder. You can fucking get interviews in. You can hit up agents. Yeah. So yeah, that is very bad. I think we might be seeing possibly the last 2 matches, if that, of Erik Ten Hag here, unfortunately, because it's just it's a sad situation that we have repeated the history that we've done for the 4th fucking manager now, for the 4th manager in a row, and it's just shit. It's shit. Player power game is going to be back at this point. Well, if it can certainly creep back in. You would hope that somehow the hierarchy. I mean, it's hard to deal with that. I mean, because there's only so much you can do. In the circumstance, there's only so much you can do to try and curb player power. But at the end of the day, if you lose too many players, no matter who you put on that pitch, if they fucking give up and they're done and they're fed up, there's nothing you can really do about it at that moment. They're going to go on the pitch. They're not going to play. They're going to lose. And the manager is going to fucking get the blunt end of the stick for it. So, the only way that would be then the hierarchy would have to take that into consideration. And, when you get the opportunity, you get those fucking players out. And you move them on, regardless of who it is, what contract you're on, what's your name, how many jerseys you sell. That's the only way you would be able to do it. But you wouldn't be able to do that until a certain period, like January or the summer window. So, It's not even an immediate thing you would be able to do. Richard, do you want Erik Ten Hag out, or do you have a Sir Alex Ferguson feeling? Well, we do have the poll going. And if you didn't vote in the poll, we have 25 votes, and it says either or, sack Ten Hag now, or wait some more and see. And from yesterday, that we had our own poll where it was very divided, but now we did have more options. But it was more of, let's see the next couple matches, and let's see the result. And or give Erik Ten Hag as much time as he needs to implement. Well, we're seeing now how that's quickly shifted, and not wrongly so. But Erik Ten Hag right now, sack Ten Hag now, 68%. Out of the 25 people that have voted, 68% are saying sack Ten Hag now, and 32% are still saying wait some more and see. So he still does have a little bit of support, but he's lost, and I think, in my opinion, that's probably going to go across the entire fan base. I mean, if you go on social media right now and you find any poll, I think it's going to be majority overwhelming for sacking Erik Ten Hag. I think today he's lost the majority backing. And I don't know what's going to happen in the future games. Sanel Maseko saying positive or Bruno is out for 3. Well, I mean, yeah, if you think Bruno is the problem, and you think that Bruno should have been dropped, or you don't want Bruno starting, or if you're in that camp, then that is a positive for you to take out of here, because it's now forced. It's now forced upon Erik Ten Hag. If you were frustrated that he kept picking Bruno, if you were frustrated that he doesn't sub Bruno out, if you're frustrated by the way Bruno's been playing, well, that's been forced upon us. So yeah, I mean, if you're in that camp, it certainly is a positive, and I'm kind of interested to see, actually, how we play without him, because I still think he's an important player, and while he's been poor, I do understand the criticism of he does make a lot of mistakes. I don't necessarily like the fact that he's just allowed to fucking sit up next to Xerxes. I don't think it helps the midfield. I actually think it imbalances the midfield. But that comes from the coaching staff. Because if you have a player like Bruno Fernandes and he's doing things like that, and he's not supposed to be doing it, then either they're not telling him not to do it, which is their fault, or they're telling him to do it and they're not changing it, which means that they're continuing down a path of something that is hurting the team and not working. So it's their fault anyway. So either or, they're getting the blame solely specifically on that point. But then obviously, Bruno is then on the pitch. You then have to play good yourself. So he has that responsibility for himself. Showing them the footage of the supporters after the game. Yeah, if they give a fuck enough, right? If they care enough. Some of them might not. I mean, I'm sure there are players in there that do care. But maybe there's a couple that just really don't give a shit. Axe saying this is the most painful thing. Really? How the fuck has the club failed for 4th consecutive times in the same way? It's like the club is full pathological. Well, the problem, Axe, and I kind of hinted at this, I don't know if it was yesterday or the show before, but remember how I kept saying we're kind of in a weird situation because we got this whole new structure above the manager. We got this whole new hierarchy, and it's kind of like a rebuild in terms of that. We have football people, we have positions in the hierarchy that we didn't have, that so now we could kind of operate as a proper football club. But the weird thing about it was that while like that aspect, and even the scouting and bringing in player profile, because we went young and we went for a certain profile of player, while all of that has gone back to square one, and it's like in year 1 of a rebuild, we still had Erik Ten Hag in year 3. The problem with that is that the hierarchy, while they're making all these changes, they did not pick this manager, which means that if the whole hierarchy was shit, right, and they didn't know what they were doing, well, they selected this manager. So while Erik Ten Hag might not be a terrible manager, while he might be able to do something at another club and maybe have better success and be better, maybe he just never was the correct pick for Manchester United. And when that hierarchy picked him, they made the wrong decision again because they were totally incompetent at their fucking job. So why would they get Erik Ten Hag right when they got so many other things wrong? Maybe it was just the wrong decision because he just does not fit the club. And they got it wrong. And now we're at a point where maybe, and just maybe, the new hierarchy with their new thinking and their new way of operating, maybe they have the opportunity to select a correct manager under what they are trying to build. But right now we have sort of this hybrid of Erik Ten Hag came in from what was going on under the old philosophy of the hierarchy, and they're trying to implement this new fucking way, this new future of where we're going, but we're using the manager from the previous regime, and maybe it just doesn't click. Maybe it just doesn't. Please hit the like button and subscribe. Yes, please, if you can, smash the like button for me. It really helps out the channel, and I greatly appreciate it. So we could get more views. And if you're not a subscriber and you'd like to join us and get involved in the chat, please subscribe. Turn on notifications. We always go live. We're always here after the matches, and we're live multiple times throughout the week discussing news and all types of things. So get involved because we want to hear from you. Nobody gets shut down on this channel. Nobody has a bad opinion. We don't shut you down. We don't berate you. We don't belittle you. So the more people we can hear from, the better, because we want to have as many different just viewpoints and thoughts and stuff, because it's all about discussion, it's all about opinion, and that's what we want. That's why we have this channel, and everybody has a voice here. So get involved, and vote on the poll if you didn't. Ray saying player power, the old players has too much power over the club. I mean, there's some players, and some of them are my favorite players, but they've been here through multiple managers. And their situation has never changed, but the manager is the one that's always changing. So, maybe I don't want to believe it because I like them as a player, and I don't want it to be the truth because it would be disappointing and it would hurt. But maybe they are the problem. Maybe they actually are the problem. Or part of the problem, not the problem, because I think to say the problem would mean if you get rid of them, then everything is fixed. I think there's so many problems in so many different areas that, even those players going, there would still be other problems that we would have to deal with. So, Ray's saying send Bruno on vacation tomorrow. Don't use him against Porto. I wouldn't use him against Porto. I love Bruno Fernandes. I think, from when we signed him, in terms of, I thought at that moment, it was exactly what we needed. I thought he was fantastic when he came into the club. But at this point, I would not use Bruno Fernandes. There is something wrong with Bruno. There is something wrong. There is something wrong with Bruno. He hasn't been playing good. He seems off it. He seems frustrated. He seems out of energy. I think he's suffering mentally fatigue, and probably physically as well, because still, and people have said this before, it is almost impossible as a human being to play the amount of minutes and to play the amount of matches that he's played and not be affected. So you might still be able to be fit, but his head seems fucking gone, and even his body in certain aspects seems gone. So I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't. As much as I think when he's on his game and he plays well and he's in, his element as Bruno Fernandes, I think he is important for us. He's not that player right now. And, we talk about looking after players. Well, we need to look after our player. The captain is supposed to look after the other players, but who looks after the fucking captain? I mean, that would be on the manager, because that's his right-hand man. That's his manager on the pitch. You have to look after the players. And right now, he's suffering. And like I said, sometimes the answer is not to go straight through the shit. Because right now, Ten Hag is forcing him to, there's a path that has hot rocks that are on fire. And Erik Ten Hag is telling him, the only way you can get out of this is you got to go through that path. when you have the option to just fucking walk around it. And walking around it would to be to take Bruno out because there is something wrong with him and move on with other players and bring Bruno back in when you can. Let's swap our under 18s. Well, I'll tell you what. If we swapped our under 18s, I don't know if we'd get the results because of the gap in ability. But what we won't see is what we saw in the first half and in other matches of them just not trying, playing scared, playing slow. We won't see that. We won't see that. We'll see the kids play. They'll be fearless. They'll play attacking. They'll be exciting for sure. I don't know if they'll get the result because, the ability wise, the gap in ability, but it can't be worse. It won't be worse than this. It would be better at this point, and that's saying a lot. Ray's saying I think we should stick to the plan for a little more till the end of the year. I don't think we're gonna make it that far, Ray. I don't. As much as I would want to say, I would love that because again, I think that before the way I spoke and said that there was a chance to do something. But I don't think that we're gonna make it that far. I don't think he's gonna make it that far. I don't. I think he's gone into a spot after today that he's not gonna get out of. That he is not gonna get out of. And it'll be interesting to see, if they don't sack him because we don't know what's actually happening. We don't know what INEOS actually have planned. We don't know how they actually operate. So, if they stick with him and he goes into the next match, it's going to be very interesting to see the decisions he makes and to see what the players do on the pitch. Because if we see anything that closely resembles today, Twente, Crystal Palace, Liverpool, if we see anything like that, or worse, which I don't know if you could do much worse, but they cease to fucking amaze, then it's 100% done. 100% done. I think it's about 90% done right now, if not 95. Somebody might say 99. Some people might say 100 right now. Axe saying, I think they picked him past summer. Remember how Ineos went to Ibiza to tell Erik Ten Hag he will stay? I mean, maybe. I mean, yeah, that is, you kind of put that into perspective. I kind of forgot about all that. Like, at the end of the day, the Ineos did do a review, and they did pick Erik Ten Hag as almost as if he was like a new candidate, if he was a new manager. So maybe they will stick with him for a fucking while. And through all this period, maybe he's still here by December. Maybe they refuse to sack him. I don't know. I don't know. Everyone has a voice. Even if we don't agree, you will get to say whatever you want. Absolutely. As long as it's respectful and it's, just structured well. We don't need people coming in here attacking other people or just being abusive. You can have whatever opinion you want, but none of that. There is no doubt that Bruno was our best signing post Sir Alex. However, no player should be undroppable. He can't be undroppable. He has to take him out for a few games. 100%, Richard. 100%. Let's do, we've been probably live for a while. I haven't really been keeping track. I'm afraid to refresh this because it might just screw everything up. But let's see what happens. All right. Time. I don't know why it doesn't show me the time. I should keep a timer. Somebody give me the time. Please and thank you. That'd be great. And let's do player ratings while that happens. So I don't know. This is gonna be so hard and so bad because I just want to give everybody like a fucking 2 or something, but I'll try to get through it. Onana for me, 4.5, 5, something like that. I think, the second goal, he should be saving it. I think he saved us from conceding another 2 or 3 at times. The first goal, I mean, I mean, but not his fault. The third goal, he could have maybe saved it better, but then Solanke's free, and he didn't have a lot of help today. So I don't think you can like overly criticize him and say all three goals were his fault or anything like that. He was let down severely. Um, all right, hour 40. All right, that's not bad. I thought we were on here for way longer. Um, Maz for me, 4, 3.5. He wasn't good today. The Delit, the same. Uh, about a 4. I think Delit very struggled, or 3.5. He struggled. He got beat a lot of times. He was slowing the pace, and I think he got exposed for that today. He made some bad mistakes. He looked a bit shaky. Uh, Martinez wasn't the Martinez we're used to. He struggled as well. 3.5, 4 for me. Really struggled to win the ball back. Was getting caught out of position. I think he did well, in the second half when he kind of pushed into that midfield position, and I think he was actually doing good there. Um, which I wasn't too surprised about because he did used to play CDM at one point. So I know that he can actually do that role, but I think he did good there. But defensively, we were a mess. We were all over the place. Everybody was out of position. Everybody was making mistakes. Diego Dalot for me, he's getting a 2. He was absolutely awful today. The guy was, I don't even know if he woke up this morning. I think he was still sleeping on the pitch. So yeah, there was one of the worst performances on the pitch from our players, which is disappointing to say because I like Delo and I think he's been very good for a certain period of time. But the past 1 or 2 matches here and there, but today was the worst performance I've seen him put in a very, very, very long time. It might be his worst performance ever. Um, Kobe, I give him a 4.5. I don't think he was horrible. I think there was certain. I think he did good when he looked good when he was getting in and around the box. And actually, I think we said this last time, and I think he could probably do where Bruno plays. I think he could probably do way better than what Bruno's doing right now. And I think I think it would actually help. I think at this point, if you change the midfield and you put Kobe Mainu at attacking mid, take Bruno out of the team, and you put Ugarte and Casemiro, I think that fucking midfield would be way more balanced, and I think we would see a huge improvement. I think you would. Um, but nobody played good today, so he struggled as well. Then he also came off. Hopefully, he's not injured because he did go down the tunnel. So hopefully, he's not out. And it's nothing serious, and it was uh, a little something, maybe precautionary or something. We're gonna check. I'm gonna check to see if we got any update on that. Ugarte for Bruno, 1, 2 for the fucking red card, putting us down, and I don't, he had some good passes. He did before that all that happened, but you put us in a shit situation. And while I don't think it was necessarily a red card, it was still kind of clumsy and stupid. It was out of frustration. He did it as well. And I think you slip, just let it fucking go. Just let it go. Just be smarter about it. It was rash. It was rash, and I think it was because he was frustrated and he was pissed off. Um, Garnacho, I give him a 4 as well. I think he did moments where he was good, but he did struggle today. It wasn't a good outing from him. He lost the ball a lot. You know, mispositioning himself, mispacing passes, um, and just not being able to really get through the defense. So it's bad from him. Rashford, fucking 3. Not good from him. I think Xerxes was a 3 to him and what was funny? I actually gave them credit last match that I said Xerxes and Rashford's link-up play and their chemistry seemed very, very good when we played against Twente. And today, it was like they heard me say that, and they were like, let's make Erik look like a fucking idiot, and let's play like we've just met each other 30 seconds ago on the street. Because there was no understanding between them. I mean, Xerxes playing the fucking ball short when Rashford's going to make a run. Rashford's going to give him the ball. Xerxes fucking standing there like like the ball's not about to come to him. So I don't know what happened from the last game to this game, but it was like they were complete strangers to each other. And I don't know how you can go from having a good dynamic 2, 3 days ago to having a dynamic like you just met each other 2 seconds before the match and you go on the pitch and you have to play and you don't understand each other. So, shit like that is mystifying, and how you find the answers for that or what the answer is for that, you could spend all day talking about it. I don't think you'll ever figure it out. Mason Mount, I'll be a bit more generous because substitute came on when we were down. I give him a 5. I think he didn't really have the impact. But at that point, what fucking impact are you gonna have down, down a man, and you go down 2-0 like immediately as soon as you start the second half. I think Casemiro was actually good. I would give Cass a 6. I think when Cass came on, I think Cass was very good. Cass was playing the passes very good, and that's why I said that he picked the wrong players. Because you know what, and I was wrong because I said I would pick Mainu Ugarte, um, and then I didn't necessarily say I would pick Bruno, but I knew Bruno was going to be picked anyway. But clearly we could have used, because we played much better. We could have used Casemiro and Ugarte. And the more obvious choice would probably be to play Kobe Mainu or Mason Mount where Bruno Fernandes was playing. And I think that we saw that little bit of improvement because Cass was on there, Mount was on there, Eriksen came on there after. And by the way, I don't understand why Christian Eriksen is taking fucking corners as soon as he comes onto the pitch. Because he took the first one, or free kicks. Took the first one, he just got onto the pitch. And it was the worst delivery I've ever seen. And then he goes to take another one, and it was the worst delivery I've ever seen. And I was like, why can't Mason Mount take this? He's at least been on the pitch running around, and playing. Like, why can't he take it? Why is Eriksen taking it? So, Eriksen, he made some good passes, maybe a 5, maybe a 4.5. Rasmus, he could have had maybe a goal or so. I think he got a little bit more involved. I think you've seen the difference between him and Xerxes, really. Rasmus adds a little bit more pace up there. He adds a little bit more directness, and a little bit more quickness as well. But it wasn't enough. So 5. I don't want to be too harsh because he came on as a sub a little bit late. And we didn't lose the match because of him. So, and Diallo, we give him, he really had nothing. So I give him a 6 because much for him to do. Maybe even a 5.5 because I was disappointed that he just came on and he was still like not trying to go forward, and he just fucking he's picking up the ball with loads of space and he's stopping to pass it backwards. I don't know why he does that. He shouldn't be doing that. And that's why I say that maybe that they are playing without freedom, because it seems like, I think Ahmad is a player that just wants to get the ball and fucking run. But I think it's like he started that way, but I think now because he's getting like more integrated into the team, they're coaching him and telling him stop doing that and play this way. So now that's the instructions, that's what we're seeing. And for me, Erik Ten Hag, 2, a 2. The selections was wrong. I think he could have. I think you know what? I think you seen it in the first half. 20 fucking minutes in, 25 minutes, whatever you decided you were gonna set up, you knew it wasn't working. You knew we weren't gonna turn it around in that period. And I feel like if you were so desperate for the result and the 3 points, you had to make some sort of a significant change at that time, and he didn't. And then I think also, in hindsight, obviously, but he got the team selection wrong. I think the players he picked didn't work out to the game plan well. They didn't perform well, and I think we saw a little bit of uptick from the substitutes that came on, which indicates to me that those players probably should have fucking started because we just played better. So yeah, man of the match. I don't even want to give a man in the match. Because I don't think anybody fucking deserved it. If anything, I'll give the fucking man of the match to Onana. Because I think he stopped us from conceding another three goals. So yeah. Matome, Trevor, Liverpool fan. Yeah. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Yeah, you never walk alone. You'll be walking alone because you're not going to win the league. So I don't give a shit. You could come in here and, celebrate whatever. Go ahead. But you ain't going to win the league. And you ain't going to win the Champions League. So you could celebrate whatever you want. And one day we'll be back. So don't worry about it. You Liverpool. You Scouse bastard. Indeed, he needs to be. Ugarte may. Ray gave everybody a -5. Oh, I'm not gonna fight it. I could have done the same. Give them all zeros, really. But I tried to do some type of a real player rating. Indeed, he needs to be rested. Maybe spend more time with family and clear his mind. I think I think it. He doesn't even maybe clear the mind a little bit. I don't know about the family aspect, but like just. I think he's just played so many matches and so many minutes, regardless of if he thinks that he can handle it. You can't as a human being. It's just like inhumanly possible. So, Ugarte mounted Mano. Mano was furious when he went off. Well, yeah, he was upset. I think one, he was upset about the red card. I think he was upset about him fucking getting injured. So, why would you be happy? You're not gonna be happy. Your team's down. You got injured. Your captain just got fucking sent off. We basically just lost 2 of the 3 starting midfielders. In one swoop, one motion, 1 second. So I believe Bruno has ADHD. Not wanting to be rude. It's just my opinion based on what I saw on TV. Let's not diagnose people. Let's not diagnose people. Eriksen's corners were hella frustrating. I mean, the thing was that like, that's just like my philosophy. Like, if you put on a sub, right, and you have a penalty kick, you don't give the sub the penalty kick. I don't give a shit if it's Ronaldo. I don't care if it's Messi. I don't care if it's fucking Neymar. I don't care if it was George Best or fucking, whoever. Like, he just came onto the pitch. He made a bad mistake last match. He just came onto the pitch. Like, literally, didn't even touch the ball. And he's going to take the corner. And I was like, why can't Mason Mount take the corner? Can Mason Mount not fucking put in a corner? I mean, if he can't put in a corner, then why did we spend fucking 60 million on him? I mean, that's useless. And I think he can put in a corner. That's why I'm asking why he couldn't take the corner. So, I support all people regardless of having ADHD or any other neurodevelopmental condition or mental disorder. I have some issues. Everybody's got their own thing, X. Don't worry about it. We're not attacking anybody for that. Richard saying, I tell you what, I decided today watching the game, Xerxes is not a 9. Well, he's not a 9 that we need right now. And the problem with that is, Richard, is that what we really need him to be is like a complete forward, but he's not that. He is really, to the best of his ability right now, the player that would sit behind the striker, that would be behind Rasmus Højlund. That is, off his current ability and what he can give us. That's what he is. He is not, and like, he does not have the sting and the move. I mean, his movement is very slow, and I was getting frustrated by it because I said, I was like, I think he's too slow. I think he's too slow for today's match. He couldn't press, especially for Tottenham, the way they moved the ball and the way they were moving. And I was like, I get that, he can do the hold up and the link up, which he was shit at today anyway. But I was like, at this point, I was like, we can't even, I was like, the press, even though maybe we still couldn't press, I was like, the press is even worse because he's really slow. And that's why I felt, like I felt like, and I think that was obvious in terms of the fact of why he took him off and put Rashford there. But for me, and maybe because Rasmus can't play 45 minutes yet, so he's just managing minutes there. But for me, putting Marcus Rashford there ain't gonna really fucking. I mean, obviously Rashford's quicker, he's faster than Xerxes, so when you look at it speed wise, but Marcus isn't gonna fucking initiate no press. He isn't the master of that. I think the obvious one would be to put Rasmus there, or you put Mount there and have him play as the false nine. But yeah, I was kind of, when I was sitting there, I was getting frustrated by the lack of pace that Xerxes had, because I was like, we need something faster up there. We need something quicker, and he doesn't have it. And then his link up play is shit today. So I was like itching for Rasmus to come in, because I was like, I know Rasmus will at least give us some speed up there, and he'll initiate press a lot quicker and a lot faster. And he's just a lot more threatening in that aspect. But I was like, I do understand that he probably can't play 45 minutes. So, we just had to wait. But I think when he came on, you did see it. So, yeah, you know what? Lyle, I agree with that too. Man of the match was the Stretford end. Man of the match was to every single person that was there, that's a United fan, that watched, that paid money to go there, sat there, watched it, continued to support the team, even the ones that left. But especially to the ones that stayed there the whole match, and especially to the ones that stayed there after the match. And to the fans around the world, I think we are the man of the match today, because today we really needed to we needed to stay and support our team, and then really, our I look at it the equivalent of our friend got jumped by a gang of 11 people. They got the absolute shit beat out of them. It's really bad. They are in serious condition, and they're gonna have to go to the hospital. And we went there, we picked them up while they're all crippled, and we've taken them to the hospital today. That's how I'm looking at it. So yeah, and Xerxes is a shadow striker kind of substitute for the Cam. Yeah, that's kind of what we were saying. And I want to see Xerxes and Højlund play together. Well, you know what? Maybe that was the plan at some point, but obviously Rasmus was injured, so that plan goes out the window. Maybe that was the plan. Maybe that could have been part of the plan. But obviously, if you have Rasmus injured, you play Xerxes striker, because, so, if you can't start Rasmus, if you can't play Rasmus, then you got to go down a different option. And maybe that could have been one of the plans to do that. But obviously, you can't implement that if Rasmus isn't fit. So then you have to play some other type of way. And that's what I'm saying. In the next match, if Erik Ten Hag is still here and he doesn't get sacked, because again, we don't know what INEOS is going to do, then you do something like that. Do something like that. At this point, do anything besides doing the same shit that we've been doing. So, let me just see if I pick up a couple quotes, couple things from Ten Hag, some of the players. Michael Owen saying Bruno slips, and then he just flicks his leg out. There's no force. It's not a dangerous challenge. It's not a red card. I think everybody is unanimously on this, that nobody believes it was a red card, except for haters and probably rivals, which they're going to argue that it was a red card because they're happy that we got the red card, which they shouldn't be, because when it happens to them, they'll bitch and moan, because it's one thing if the referee gets it wrong, but it's another thing when VAR looks at that and VAR decides that that's still a fucking red card. Because I think every analyst, and even the people that don't like Manchester United, but all of the pundits on TV and everything, they all, in unison, I don't think not one of them said that that was a red card. I think they've all said, that it wasn't a red, it was definitely a yellow. So, if you're a rival fan and you enjoyed that, you shouldn't, because when it happens to you and you get fucked by a decision by VAR, Because what is VAR for if you're not going to reverse that decision? Because that had an impact. And while we were shit, and it's not the complete reason as to why we lost the match, it had a huge impact at 1-0, and we're not playing good. Because we could have had the chance to turn it around in the second half. And that was taken away immediately as soon as Bruno. Because you don't play like that and go down a man, and you're going to fucking, you're going to turn it around. The odds were already against us. Then they went even down deeper. So, Erik Ten Hag, I mean, he's going to get cooked for these comments. But Erik Ten Hag said, "There is always a new day. I told the guys in the dressing room, come on. Tomorrow, a new day. We will bounce back, I'm sure." And if you want to hear what's the people are commenting on social media, people are saying, "Brother, you won't be here tomorrow. Get this clown out of my club." Everton fans saying, "I hope he stays. He's doing a fantastic job for only spending." I mean, the money shit is whatever. Spending 600 million. People putting up, photoshopped pictures of the Sky Sports thing where it says breaking news: Erik Ten Hag has been sacked as Manchester United manager, saying what the Manchester United fans want. Somebody saying, when is he getting sacked? Same story, different day. Ten Hag out. Ten Hag deserves more time. I believe he will deliver the league this season if the fans get behind him. Yeah, that's obviously sarcasm and a rival fan. A lot of rival fans, because this is under Fabrizio, so you're gonna get all types of people saying this. Somebody said, "You lost 3-0 at home and you told your players there's always a new day. I understand why we never come back to win matches now." A lot of negativity, which is obvious. People putting up posts saying Erik Ten Hag keeper sack. People saying, "I just don't see what's going to change under another manager." To be honest, I mean, sack him, whatever. But the effort from these players today wasn't because of the manager. They looked like the same players that down tools for Mourinho. And they did. They did. But also, at the same time, for the current situation, if that's the case, that means that we're just going to keep on this path. And if you keep on this path, it's a little bit of insanity as well, because it's like burning your hand on the stove, and then you keep trying to touch the fucking stove thinking that you're not going to keep getting burned when you're just going to keep getting burned. You know what I mean? Like, you would have to be kind of like insane in the head to keep doing that. This person saying sack him. This person saying the players are not fighting for Erik Ten Hag anymore. He's done. If we can't get a good manager like Tuchel, Xavi, Lowe, etc. in until the end of the season, then probably until the end of the season, then probably sack. To be honest, I'm not here for Franks, Rudes, or Ollie's of the world coming in though. F that. Sack and get out. Sad they but they're not sacked yet. I know I'm speaking for every rival fan when I say Ten Hag in, sack. So it's just overwhelmingly, obviously they're going to come, the Ten Hag outers are going to come out and voice their things. But, yeah, I just, I'm not seeing no signs to suggest we're on the right path. So, and rightfully so. So if anybody's asking for the sack, it's totally, understandable at this point. And I just want to bring this image in. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but just so you could see what I saw when I was watching on the television, because this is what I was talking about before. This is what I seen. And ignore. I mean, look at this. Let me resize it so we could see it. I mean, if that's not the saddest and just like heartbreaking picture you've ever seen. I mean, look at these guys. Look at these poor United fans. Fucking stadium is empty, dude. Empty. Look at the pain. Look at the hurt in them. You know how broken and hurt and disappointed you have to be to sit there while everybody else has left, to sit there alone in that seat, just looking and pondering fucking what the hell just happened in life. Um, and yeah, that's why I said I could feel the pain through the TV. I honestly, really, I can. The poor guy on the bottom, he was the one that I was really talking about. You could kind of tell, like, I don't know, and I might just be reading too much into it, but you could kind of just tell, like, he's had a shit week, outside of football, and this only fucking added to it. You know what I mean? You could just tell. So, let's see if we get a couple more things, and then we'll end the show because we've run it long. But I think today we kind of needed it. It's been a little bit of a therapy for me. So yeah, I've calmed down now a little bit. Still hurt as shit, but um, let's see. Somebody said I just watched the first 20 minutes back to find out if it was bad as I remember. It's worse. Either those players down tools or aren't good enough. Not sure what's more acceptable. Um, Phil the Brown, which we've talked about him before. I've known him from the early days of the United Stand, but he was never on the actual United Stand. He just used to do something with transfers. He does his own thing, and he's never been back. But he is respected by many other people out there. So he has no actual affiliation to the United Stand. But he's put out saying you have absolutely no right to be a Manchester United manager after this. To ask for patience or to ask to be judged in May. INEOS have a decision to make right now whether they want to or not. Preserving with this, expecting it will get better is like watering a dead plant. So you see the sentiment coming out of here. Just remember that Gareth Southgate is without a job, and I don't know whether to laugh or cry. I understand wanting Ten Hag replaced, but it could get worse. And on that notion, I absolutely agree. So I implore INEOS, which they're not going to see this, but if somebody happens to see it that knows them, I beg them. You want to sack Ten Hag? Sack Ten Hag. Please, for the love of God, do not hire Gareth Southgate. Please, I will literally cry. I will cry. Um, don't do it, please, please. We're already in enough pain. Don't do that shit to us. Don't do it. We will get banted and laughed at, and I won't be able to handle it. Gary Neville's saying, are the players not buying into what Erik Ten Hag is telling them, or do they not believe in it? Isn't that kind of the same thing, Gary? Doesn't that doesn't that doesn't that mean the same shit? You asked the same question twice. If the players are not buying into what Erik Ten Hag is telling them, then that means that they don't believe in it. So, like, if they don't believe into it, then they're not buying into it. Like, I don't, come on. But I mean, on that sentiment, we did already talk about that. We already said something in a similar fashion. Like, I don't think they're buying into whatever he's telling them anymore. So, and I don't think he's going to be able to get them to buy back into it. I think it's gone. There is probably a couple more quotes somewhere. Bruno has some things to say. Let me see if I find like more of the quotes from Ten Hag. All right, so and Bruno Fernandes has had some things to say as well. So Manchester United, this isn't a quote. This is a statistic. So Manchester United 7 points are their joint fewest after 6 games of the Premier League season. 1-2, drawn 1, and lost 3. The same record in both 2013/14 season and 2020/2021 season. Now, somebody accurately remind me, in 2013 and 14, that was Moyes, right? And he got sacked. And then 2020 to 21, was that Ali? And he got sacked? Um, Meanwhile, only in 2007, 2008, 4, have they scored fewer goals through their first 6 Premier League games than they have this term, 5. So, not good things, not good things. Robbie Savage saying possibly sacking Erik Ten Hag. I think that they've got to make a big decision this week. I think this time might be up. Bruno Fernandez saying, I just wanted to come and talk to do the interview in quotations and be myself because my teammates deserve that for what they have done in the game, playing with one man less, particularly as I was the man sent off, the one that let them down. The team showed a lot of character, a lot of resilience, a lot of fight. They tried. It wasn't easy. He also said it was never a red card. That is my view. I agree that it is a foul, but it is never. It is never a. I think he meant to say it was never a red card foul, but he said it's never a foul. The referee tried to tell me that as he saw it, it was clear contact with the studs. No, I did not touch him with the studs or even the foot. It was my ankle. It is as clear. It is as clear. It is as clear a foul. Bruno saying, if he wants to give me a yellow because they are going to go on the counter, then I agree. But more than that, no, it's not. It is not the case. He also said, yes, I think we struggled a bit. We tried to force it a little bit to rush it and go too quick. When they have the high line, we made mistakes on the ball, and then we got punished, and it didn't go the way we wanted from there. He also went on to say, then the red card makes it worse. I have to appreciate all the effort my teammates have done to try and turn the game around, but it wasn't possible. They showed great effort and character, and I was happy for that. I don't know how to feel about that, Bruno, because, um, I they did in the period, but there was a lot of substitutes that came in and replaced certain players, and then there was other players that continued to play like shit. So I don't 100% agree with that. But Bruno Fernandez continuing saying, I don't take him as everyone wants to see it. I don't go in with the studs. I take him with my ankle. It's a clear foul, but never a red card. Even Madison, when he gets up, he said it was a foul, but never a red card. You can see it's never a red card. And if it is, we have to look at many other incidents. I have many incidents against me, and I have never seen it come so quick as a red card. He also said the contact is not that strong. If he wants to give me a yellow because it's a counterattack, I agree, and I don't know why VAR doesn't call the referee to the screen. For me, it's not a good decision. I want to say I left my teammates one man down. I appreciate everything they did on the pitch. We did not start the game well with 11 players, and then they did very well. It was difficult to cover all the spaces. There are many good things we can. There are many good things we can take away. I don't agree with that, Bruno. I don't think there's many good things we could take away from today. It's a bad start of the game. Tottenham were dominant. We couldn't get the right press, and we also made many mistakes in possession. That I agree with. But we could have come back into the game, and I think the red card changed that game. That I sort of agree with you. I mean, there was always a chance that maybe we would have been able to come back if we didn't get the red card. But we'll never know because we had to play after that. Ten Hag speaking, saying on first half performance, it was no good. It's not possible that a player from the back can dribble through the whole team, which is again happened again. So it's not possible, but it's happened twice in 2 matches. So, and then bring a cross in. We then lost a little bit of confidence. We were also poor in possession. We can do better there, and all the players know this. He also said on Bruno's red card, I don't think it's a red card. He then also said, to concede a goal after 2 or 3 minutes like that, it did something to our belief. Yeah, it did fucking destroyed it because we already were lacking it. Totally unnecessary to concede a goal like this, 100%. The opposing center half, Van de Ven, stepping in and passing the whole team over the right side, and then the winger tapping in at the far post. Same mistake as in the midweek against Twente. It should be stopped in the first moment. Well, that's your job to fucking make sure that they don't do it again. So I don't know what we did from that match to this match, but clearly they didn't fucking get that, because they didn't get that memo because they did the same mistake twice in 2 matches. From that moment on, we were stressed on the ball. We could not find the triangles or the switches. We had some good moments, but from that moment, we could not get a foothold. And we can do better than that. Even after such a mistake from us, we should stay calm. Why did they... Okay, and he also then said we had chances and our moments to get back in the game, Xerxes and Garnacho, when we still had 11 players. And then after the red card, too, we had moments, we had our chances before halftime. And in the second half, with 10 men, we had chances as well. It definitely had an impact on the game. I don't think it was a red card. He also said, first we have to deal with this and show resilience. This is not good enough. We have to accept this and get better. Focus on the next game and do things better than we did today. And I just want to read, you know. Yeah, all right. Ten Hag saying a very bad start from us. Also saying the red card changed everything as it was still 1-0. But we were down to 10 and it makes it difficult. I don't think it is a red card, but the decision is made. Ten Hag on the fans support. He says it means a lot. You can see we are always there together. You know what though, Ten Hag, I gotta disagree with you on that because you weren't with us today. We were there with you, but the players, the team wasn't with us today because you let us down. You let us down and you failed us, and it was in the worst possible way. So you weren't with us today. We weren't together. We were there with you. We were there holding you up. You weren't helping us stand up. We did it. We did all the standing today. Ten Hag on having belief. There is always a new day, and we will learn from it. My players are strong characters. That's fucking questionable. And we will bounce back. We have to learn from this and quickly. Ten Hag on his job, saying, no, I'm not thinking about this. We all made this decision to stay together in the summer. As ownership group, leadership group, also we made the decision after a clear review. We have to improve as an organization, plus how to construct the squad. All decisions made in togetherness, also knowing it would take some time. We are all there on one page, one boat, the ownership, the leadership group, the staff, and the players too. So, doesn't sound like a guy that's worried that he's going to get sacked. Doesn't sound like a guy that's worried that, you know, his superiors are telling him, you better fucking get this done or you're gone in, you know, the next couple matches. So, I don't know. Maybe that's just, you know, his PR fucking thing, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. I missed quite a lot of the chat, so I'll get back in here. Erik, put on your manager blazer. Looking at the team as it is, what would you do? What I would do going forward. Well, number one, I would tell them. Hold on, I got this. So we got the training set up. I tell the players, number one, you gotta pass the ball faster. You gotta move faster. We're gonna give you creative freedom so that you could play attacking. Don't be afraid to lose the ball. You lose the ball, get back in your fucking positions. But in all seriousness, I would look at making fundamental changes in that team. I think I think for me, number one, most probably number one, that midfield is not working. That thing that he's doing with Bruno, letting Bruno float around and do whatever the fuck Bruno is doing and staying up top, I think that's hurting us. I think it's hurting us in transition, and I think it's hurting us defensively. So I would look to change that immediately. And something a little bit more balanced. I think Casemiro was encouraging today. I don't necessarily know how you move forward in that aspect of, who do you pick? Casemiro. For me, I would really like to put Kobe Mainu where Bruno Fernandes plays and see how that goes, and then pick the other two, whether that's Ugarte, and Casemiro and Ericsson, Mount and Ugarte, Casemiro and whoever. But I would like to see Kobe Mainu play there. I would play Amad Diallo. I would play either Amad Diallo or Rashford on the right, and I would put Garnacho on the left. I would stop playing Marcus Rashford on the left if he has a shit fit about playing on the right, or he plays like shit. Then I'm putting Diallo, and you can come off the bench and come in for Garnacho if Garnacho's not getting it done. I would be looking to get Rasmussen as the striker as soon as possible, depending on his fitness and how many minutes he can play. And maybe keeping Xerxes on the bench and subbing him in, because I would like to see Kobe Mainu play in that role behind him at first. And maybe if that doesn't work, then you could try Xerxes out there. But I do like Mainu, so in that position. So Axe actually thinks it was a red card. He went straight for the leg, nothing to do with the ball. Direct intention to hurt the other player. I really don't think it was a red card. I think it could have been worse. I think if it was in a certain more way, but I don't think he actually caught him with the studs. I mean, I'll watch it back again later, but from the couple times I've seen it, I didn't think it was a red card initially on the replay. And I still don't think it was. I think for it to be a straight red like that, I think it would have had to been worse. Like, he did catch him, and I agree, like, yellow card, you know what I mean, and final warning. And it was a bit dangerous. But I don't think it was I don't think it was as dangerous as it for to be grounds for red. So, um, um, and then Bray is saying stick with him. Axe is saying, yeah, Tuchel and sorry, but how will he turn this around? It was very bad against Liverpool, pretty bad against above the middle table teams. How? Nobody has the answer. He doesn't have the answer. He doesn't have the answer. We don't have the answer. Nobody can answer that question because there's no answer. There is no answer. I mean, the only answer would be to win matches, but how you get us to win matches? Because we can't win. What is that? 4 matches in a row. No wins. So yeah, I mean, yeah, there is none. Give him till the end of the year, Ray says. I mean, they might. They might. I don't know what their actual agreement is, and we don't know what their actual plan is. Maybe that is their plan. Maybe they fucking stick to it. They might do so. Or they might just sack him. We don't know. We have to see. And I'm sure we're gonna get probably some news and some leaks coming tomorrow. So you know what, we will do a show tomorrow because I'm expecting some shit to come out tomorrow. And we could do the show. We did it a little bit earlier last time, around 2 p.m. Eastern. I forgot what that is UTC time. But we'll do it around then. I'll obviously schedule it beforehand. And we could do it around then. For sure. Erik, if Southgate comes in, I will quit watching Man United. I mean, I feel you. Ray saying he should shut his mouth. I think he's talking about Bruno. Omar Barada is too smart to fall for Southgate. If he does, then he should leave ASAP. Well, the problem is it is a committee, Lyle. And while I guess Omar, we don't know that dynamic either. Does Omar have final say? Or is it like majority rules type of thing? Because Omar, while he might be too smart and he might think Southgate is totally shit and be against it, if he doesn't have the be all and end all say, um, and it's more of a committee majority rules type of thing, then he might get fucked. Which kind of sucks because he is the CEO, so he would get a brunt of the blame for that, even though he wouldn't be the one, or he'd be the one that was against it. Um, Scholes quotes. No, those were just all quotes from Bruno Fernandes and Erik Ten Hag. All the quotes that we did. Ray thinks that Bruno wants Erik Ten Hag out. I don't know. It would be weird. I mean, he's the captain. He keeps playing in him. He keeps picking him. I don't know why he would necessarily want him out. Damn, Madrid derby just got called off. Looks like rowdy Atleti fans. That's crazy. That's sad. Axe saying Bruno went to the dressing room and watched Man United versus Tottenham 5-3 historical match. Yeah, yeah. All for those quotes, maybe then. Yeah, you let us down, big thing. No, he let us down. Was well, as long as it's after 1:30 p.m. UK, I have to get the plane back to Belfast. Oh yeah, it'll be 1:30 p. It'll be like 6:30, maybe 7:30 p.m. UK time for sure. I might move it an hour later. I might do it at 3:30, yeah, Eastern Standard Time, which would be about 8. It would be about 8:30 UK. So, one or the other, one or the other. I'll schedule it tomorrow. You'll see it. So, but yeah, you have a good trip, Richard. And on that note, we're gonna end it because the show's run really long, longer than I would have liked, but I did it on purpose anyway. So, and we'll be back tomorrow. And it was a very good show. So thank you guys, and you guys are always good in the chat. Lyle, Richard, Axe, Ray, everybody getting involved. Before we had a Sanel Maseko. He might have left us, but shout out to him because he was in here as well. We had a couple other people. Grace was here, but she went to go drink her wine, which rightfully so. And Noah Theodros was in here as well. So shout out to all the chat. Thank you to everybody that liked. Thank you to anybody that subscribed. We'll be back tomorrow. So if you guys are available and want to join us and talk about, probably this and a little bit more, we will see you then. Everybody try to, relax and enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening or night or whatever it is, morning, wherever you're watching. I know it's going to be tough, but try and do something maybe that you enjoy and takes your mind off of Manchester United for a while. I think we need a little bit of break from United, especially after today. So thank you, everybody. Cheers. Be good. Stay safe. Richard, you have a safe trip back, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow on here. And yeah, take care, everybody. Be good and feel better.